welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as mentioned, going to jump right into our next series now as we have Vici Gaming versus Invictus Gaming here. And now this new best of 3 action. So another first-round matchup coming at you here. One of these teams looking to advance on here in the winner's bracket, and the loser will, of course, drop down, well, to the loser's bracket. So double elimination here. 8 teams trying to qualify for 1 spot at the Manila Masters, taking place in the month of May, late May that is. So looking forward to seeing which of these 8 teams out of the Chinese region moves on. Will it be one of these 2? Well, we'll find out in this series how they're looking. I'm Breaky CPK, joined by Tsunami once again. All right, so now we got a different series here. So we got to see some pretty crazy stuff in that first series. I kind of wonder now if that's going to be a trend moving forward here into 2 different teams, or if we see more standard. But
10 seconds remaining.
We'll see what we have here. Abaddon already initially banned by Invictus Gaming, so again, a little bit of different there. Tinker taken away by Vici Gaming on the other side.
Yeah, again, I think it's all about, in these opening weeks of the patch, it's all about just saying, like, I don't want to have to deal with an Invictus Gaming situation. They don't want to have to deal with, I guess, really good counter initiation with this Abaddon. And in Vici Gaming situation, they don't want to have to deal with the anti-push of a Tinker, because otherwise Tinker, I don't think, is in any way, shape, or form a first ban material. Slardar and Lifestealer, those are heroes that you first banned pretty typically, but they're going to slip through, and IG's going to pick them up.
Yeah, at least Slardar, but man, yeah, valuing that Crystal Maiden, to say the least, is Vici Gaming, and I know you brought kind of attention to it last series as well. Crystal Maiden has really risen up the ladder of just strong support options, and I feel like it's like her and Coddle right now are kind of like 2 of the A-tier support heroes. I mean, there's a couple others, of course, on that list. Something like an Earth Spirit, I think you've even brought up. But yeah, Crystal Maiden. I mean, what do you think makes Crystal Maiden just so viable all of a sudden?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is that in 7.0, Roots got significantly buffed, which it hasn't really been showing themselves in these past few games. Like, in that one game, there was a Meepo, and Meepo definitely suffers from dealing with Frostbite because he can't poof while being rooted. And so that was one pick. But Crystal Maiden in general, like, Arcane Aura is never going to be bad. The main reason that she wasn't getting picked is because she's kind of like not the most powerful laning support. But the trend these days seems to be just pick very self-sufficient cores. Like, give them support if you want, but otherwise, you know, they can lane by themselves. You can just rotate to their lane every once in a while, and that's all you really need. And so I think the main thing is just that teams are appreciating more the Arcane Aura is able to just constantly allow your team to be aggressive. You don't need to go to shrines. You don't need to go back to Fountain. You don't need to spend a bunch of money on clarities. Just keep this hero around, keep it alive, and then your team will have more than enough fuel to just constantly harass the enemy.
Yeah. Love seeing the Tusk pick as well. Very entertaining hero, and again, one that made an appearance a couple of times, I want to say, in that previous series. I think we saw him in the first 2 games there, so Vici Gaming gonna give it a run here as well. In fact, the sister organization VGJ, of course, we saw right there, and they too played a bit of Tusk in those 2 games, I want to say. So I think FY playing it there. So yeah, perhaps some inner talkings of such hero, some strategizing, but they got the chill effect going on with the Tusk Crystal Maiden. Some good synergy there.
Yeah, I don't think this game will be seeing the Lina in contention like we did in that game 1.
No.
Tuska, I was able to come up with a justification for Crystal Maiden. Really, the only justification I can give for Tusk is that he's a great hero at diving. And whenever everyone saw the changes in 7.03, they're like, oh, the whole armor buff, whenever you have more enemy heroes, then well, maybe Deathball isn't so viable. Now you are just more about pickoffs and more fighting oriented. And so apparently China read that as, oh, okay, Tusk is now top tier, because dude did not really receive very many buffs. He got like a level 10 or 15 talent change. His experience gain got slightly buffed, but really nothing significant. And no item changes made me think like, oh yeah, Tusk is really going to benefit from this. But he's a good hero. And there is no situation in which a banish will ever be a bad spell, so Snowball is going to always be important.
Yeah, and he seems like he's actually just a decent option in general against something like that Lifesteal. What were you saying about Lena earlier? That we wouldn't see her, with all the ice on the other side?
True, and this game, I mean, in the last series it was a mid Lena, and it was
Ten
against
seconds
who's she
remaining.
laning against? Mid Lena
Silencer, I think.
versus- let me
5
look.
seconds remaining.
Oh yes, that's
It's
correct,
Silencer,
Silencer. So this time it'll be a more
Radiant's
traditional mid of
team
Shadowfiend, and again, like I have such a hard time giving Lena an edge in very many mid matchups. Like I can't think of any mid that Lena really beats. She will break even with some,
10
probably
seconds
breaks even with
remaining.
Shadowfiend because Shadowfiend's a pretty common raindrop builder,
5
and
seconds
so he's not
remaining.
going to be too concerned with the harass of Lena, but maybe the range will be enough to give
Resolve
Lena
time.
an edge, but really it's a breaky event at best. And again, I'm assuming that it's going to be a mid Lena, maybe it'll be a support Lena, maybe it'll be roaming around with Slardar. We'll see.
Yeah. Man, Lena coming out again. So the second time we get to see her today, a hero that we just never saw within these last months, and yet a simple patch, a couple of tweaks here and there, and all of a sudden picked up in back-to-back series now. So Chinese Dota, at least their fans, at least trying it out. And again, in that first game, it didn't necessarily work out the greatest, but we'll see how it works out here for Invictus Gaming. I know, again, you brought up Earth Spirit a couple times. I wonder if Earth Spirit could be an option here for the likes of Invictus Gaming. I know Baboka actually plays a great Earth Spirit himself, so definitely one I would be keeping an eye on at least. But man, they're down to 10 seconds of reserve time. Too quickly. Oh, of course.
Okay.
Troll Warlord. All right.
So now I'm pretty confident it's not a mid Lena, which is good. I didn't want mid Lena. I think Lena's perfectly viable in the support role, and they were trying to roll the dice last series, but this is where she belongs as long as Raindrop is going to be in the game. So Troll going to be the mid
10
choice,
seconds remaining.
and Troll, we've seen this matchup pretty frequently during the
5
Kiev
seconds
qualifiers.
remaining.
I don't really remember what region. I want to say EU and North America were favoring
Reserve
Troll.
time.
I think I saw it once in CIS, and I really don't know how China favors the hero, but
Yeah.
it's a very powerful mid hero, especially whenever you can combine it with other right-click cores and Lifestealer, Slardar. While Slardar not really a core, you give him more attack speed, and then hell, he'll get some bashes. Why not?
Yeah, I remember Navi actually running it. I think in CIS.
Yes,
Speaking of that.
they did. Yeah, that was the only situation in which I saw a CIS troll, but
Yeah.
it was getting picked up more and more. It was most typically seen as a counterpick towards a mid alchemist. And Troll was able to do a relatively good job of bullying out the alchemist, and so that was the most common pick. In this situation, I imagine it's just to enhance the Lifestealer's carry capabilities, and then just be like a relatively stable mid pick against
Radiant's
Shadowfiend Troll
team
Warlord.
back.
Can get out of gank attempts pretty easily. It's not as high. I wouldn't call like an Invoker high risk, but it's definitely safer than an Invoker or other maybe like a Sniper or other mids who would definitely
10
get
seconds
bodied by a
remaining.
snowball into ice shards.
Yeah.
5
Vengeful
seconds
Spirit
remaining.
response from Vici Gaming over here, so they got the fourth big Vengeful, and again, very likely going to be that
Dire
core
team
option. You're going to
back.
get Crystal Maiden and Tusk as your supports, but the minus armor strat definitely starting to kick in as well between the Vengeful and the Shadow Fiend, bringing plenty of that to the table to try to be able to drop targets quickly, such as that Lifestealer. But the final picks to come, you figure Vici probably
10
still needs their
seconds
off lane,
remaining.
Invictus, probably their off lane themselves, actually.
5
Slaughter's
seconds
been run more
remaining.
to the 4 support lately.
Yeah, like Spear Breaker style, and especially against a
Reserve
Shadow
time.
Fiend. Well, yeah, I don't know, because they'll need to pick a core. I mean, they'll need to pick an offlane who can do well against a Vengeful Spirit. And really, just like the entire roaming potential of Vici Gaming. Like I said, Crystal Maiden is constantly providing Arcane Aura, and that means that Tusk can be on the map constantly. He never needs to let up. He's going to get an Orb of Venom straight out of base, and then whenever he sees an opening on anyone but the Lifestealer, since Lifestealer is pretty much an impossible target for a Tusk, but anyone else, you see this Lena, you see this Troll, you see this Slardar, they're definitely going to be put on the menu, because I imagine mid lane's going to be the most harassed.
10 seconds
Tusk and
remaining.
Shadow Fiend have a kind of pretty
5 seconds
pretty solid
remaining.
synergy with that ice shards. You can get one raise, and then the
Reserve
enemy needs to
time.
walk backwards to get out of the ice shards, which means you can probably get the shorter distance raise as well. So pretty good way to get 2 raises, especially on top of the snowball. I imagine he's going to be spending most of his time harassing Troll.
Mhm.
But if Invictus Gaming get a good offlane that can stay pretty safe, then Slardar can also spend a lot of time bullying Shadow Fiend mid.
Yeah, I'm also just noticing, too, speaking of those Kiev Major qualifiers, the Chinese region, Invictus Gaming, of course, qualifying in the end. They were the second team joining their sister team in IG Vitality, but they defeated Vici Gaming to do so in that final match there, the loser finals. And they
that
won,
was the finals,
That
okay.
was it, yeah. They won it 2-1 there in that series. So, okay.
Holy moly.
Enigma's another hero that we actually started seeing quite a bit in those qualifiers.
Wait, really? Which region?
Oh yeah, Europe. It was played a lot actually.
Oh,
It was
okay.
played as an offlane Enigma quite a bit. So I wonder. I assume that's obviously what we're going to be seeing here with Vici. Yeah, you get an early.
Recall
What's up?
Helm of the Dominator or what?
No, I was going to say you get an early Hannah Midas on him. Is that with this level 15? I think talent it is with the gold. It's insane how well he can farm basically. And then a Coddle final pick. Okay.
Well, Carl actually making it to the very last phase and then getting picked up. Well, Invictus Gaming definitely have pretty good anti-push if Enigma does choose to go push. So the reason I said Helm of the Dominator is because the one time I did see a China Enigma, it was, well, I guess it wasn't really China, but I saw an Eastern Enigma. It was Ice 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 playing Enigma, and he went for Helm of the Dominator, and he went for like a really heavy push. And it was difficult for the enemy team to deal with. In this situation, Keeper Light last pick, to me, kind of says that I don't want to have to deal with, like, Vengeful Spirit buffing up a bunch of Eidolons. I don't want to have to deal with, like, this Tusk getting a pick and then a whole bunch of Vici Gaming heroes just descending upon a tower. We can just put a Coddle, give him some levels, and then he's going to be all we need to shut down the Enigma.
Like the finish right here, yeah. The Coddle, of course, great for that counter push, but will it be the ultimate answer? I'm kind of looking at this lineup, though, and realizing that they don't have the greatest stops for an Enigma Black Hole. Now, again, as far as the Black Hole presence goes, it didn't seem like that was even the big reason why we saw Enigmas picked out. Like I said, when it just comes to being able to farm in general, as well as that pushing presence, that was more of his power. And hell, you got like the Midnight Pulse is actually a really efficient tool in team fights, and then that with the Malefice stun to top it all off. So a Black Hole is just kind of a nice, like, topping to the hero, but you're not necessarily looking always for some big black holes. But here we go. Game 1 of our best of 3 now kicking off here as we get the sweet screen once again.
Yeah, honestly, I think part of the I think part of the situation that you'll pick an Enigma, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a whole bunch of solo black holes just on the Lifestealer.
Yeah.
In the previous series, we mentioned how Roar was one good way of dealing with Rage TP. Black Hole, it's obviously an amazing team fight ult, and you want to save it for whenever you can get multiple heroes, but if you can just get a solo kill on the enemy carry, especially burning, then it's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm. See, early ward placed by Enigma. Going to be some good vision for the team, and you got to wonder if IG's wondering if they were blocked one of their camps or not, but not the case at least just yet. He does have a sentry ward on him, does Enigma. Still scouting things out with those boots first, actually. So has plenty of speed right here. And he's kind of being a distraction, because look at his teammates meanwhile. Oh, they're wrapping around, and they're going to catch Troll. Everyone jumping inside the snowball. No shards, of course, but not needed. Root comes out. Oh, my God, maybe. Nice LSA right there.
What an LSA.
And that's enough.
Yeah, they really wanted to give Ori the kill. He didn't skill raise, he skilled up Necromastery. And I mean, it's understandable because if you don't get the kill, then you're maybe not as well off in the mid lane, especially with this whole you can't hit level 2 off of one creep wave thing that changed in 7.03. But, you know, if he had raised, they would have probably gotten that first blood.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely in hindsight, he kind of wishes he had it, I'm sure, as well. But yeah, you can't blame him for not getting it, exactly. But Ori will make his way back to the middle lane now and start blocking those creeps. And he does have that Necromastery, though, so going to try to add up some souls quickly here.
I'm very curious what Yang is going to do with this Enigma, because if you go boots, that says that you want to stay in lane. If you want to go jungle, then you get an Iron Talon. Right now he's looking like he wants to jungle. It may just be with these free Eidolons that he got, but yeah, we'll see how much time he spends.
Oh, that one's going to die right there. Not the easiest against the Hellbear Smasher at level 1, so...
No, so that's just going to be a mulligan. He may just steal another range creep. But then, like, yeah, okay, so he's going to go to lane. You don't get boots unless you want to go to lane.
Yeah, wouldn't make any sense. Like you said, Iron Talon is pretty much, it's just so good if you're going to be jungling there, so need to to get that, it feels like, if you want to do that. So he's going to be in the lane here, Yang, and probably not feeling too worried about being susceptible to being killed right here. I mean, Lina could be somewhat scary, but without a setup stun with that LSA, it can be difficult to...
Well, they have open wounds, which is a bit of a setup, and
That's
Enigma, he doesn't have the best move speed, and so that may be another reason why Yang went boots first, is so that he's a little bit more difficult to lock down with an LSA, but he still needs to be careful. How much time Lina spends, that's going to be a different question, because right now it seems that, unlike most other games, mid lane is actually just a 1v1 arrangement. Whenever you see a Shadow Fiend, usually teams like to put a heavy focus on it, but they're confident that the Troll is going to be able to do it himself.
At the top lane, Coddle again being up here. Going back to Troll just doing solo in the middle lane. So Q, he's being a nuisance up at the top lane and dealing with the Crystal Maiden, as well as the Tusk for that matter, who's now making its way over there, but going to be somewhat zoned out by the Slaughter as well. So yeah, this top lane seems like it's going all right. Vengeful Spirit, though, is getting some last hits in here, and 8-1 so far, so overall doing decent himself. But Slaughter is actually keeping up, if slightly ahead. So overall, all three lanes are actually going pretty well here for this. Radiant side is actually middle lane. Yeah, OP, he's manning up, man. He's not afraid. He's got that poor man.
The power of Arcane Aura. He doesn't have that bottle yet, and usually you don't want to have to spend so many of your raises this early on, but he's going to go Shrine up. Actually, yeah, he's went for the full Wraith Band, and then he's went for boots, actually, as opposed to the bottle. So Ori just wants to stay alive. He doesn't want to try to kill Troll, doesn't want to try anything fancy. He just wants to make sure that he doesn't feed relentlessly.
So he's got the nice movement speed, and definitely going to be helpful against the Lina, perhaps, coming in. Has level 2 now, so the Dragon Slave, a little bit more damage. Has a combo right here. Again, do they really have a setup, though? Not going to be easy.
Yeah. All these boots all over the place is making life very difficult for Lina, because even just beyond like landing an LSA, you have a much smaller window of a hero being out of position. Especially because Lina herself has very, very slow move speed. She's 295, and she does not have a wind lace or anything, and so she is not really doing very much right now, to say the least.
She's trying to make use again. She hit level 2 at least, but trying to still continue to be useful to keep those levels coming, because that's at the very least what you want on your support Lina. Get level 6 if anything as soon as possible. And
I got a smoke. Snowball. We're going in on OP.
He's pretty far away, though. These raises going to be coming out. The Ice Path keeping him in place. He goes for a turn kill. It's not going to happen, though. He goes down. Tusk taking some damage, but not enough. Obviously, the LSA coming out from Lina to assist, but not enough damage for the ultimate turn, and they're going to go pop a Shrine over here.
That was actually surprisingly lucky, because I guess the miss chance isn't that high. It's 60%, but Shadow Fiend got that right click, and if he didn't get that right click, it's possible that Troll may have been able to get out, because all the spells were used, all the magic damage was used. You had to land a right click to get that kill on Troll.
Now those Whirling Axes coming out, so ideally could help keep him alive, but not in that case. Now bottom lane, the roam is happening, burning on Lifestealer.
This is not easy. There's no way that burning is just going to randomly waste rage, and he only needs the Dispel of Rage. Now he's actually going to find HYM.
Hello, that's... you're not supposed to be here. That'll cause him, but it's still kind of a win, I think, for VG, because now Enigma's just kind of having free farm. He's feeling it. He's got Arcane Boots early on, and obviously Lifestealer can't feel like he can farm effectively himself without hugging the tower, so keeping him at bay somewhat. And goes back to, again, Enigma feeling pretty good, has the Gloves of Haste here, and on his way to the early Hand of Midas, so it seems like we are going to be seeing that. At least the Hand of Midas coming out here.
Well, it could still be a Helm. You're most likely right. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because of Ice Slice, but again, it's Eastern Enigma, so we'll see.
That's true. Yeah, no, I'm going off what we saw in the European region at least, and we've seen some funky stuff already from the Chinese region earlier today. So I definitely want to put it out of the question, of course. But yeah, we'll see here in the near future. Of course, we're going to get some information on what he'll be doing here. Speaking of that,
Bobica. he was in the top lane earlier while Tusk and CM were bullying out Lifestealer. Lina hasn't been able to find anything. At least almost level 3, but still, like, this is not how you want to spend your first 5 minutes as a Lina. You want to either be zoning someone out with your exceptional right click range, or you want to be able to get some really good rotations with your stun and burst damage from the Dragon Slave before the raindrops start coming out. Because now that it's past 3 minutes, you're probably going to see a raindrop pretty soon on Shadow Fiend. He's sending out the courier. Actually, just as a TP, but still, it's going to be an issue for Lina moving forward.
Yeah, something of definitely concern. I mean, she's going to make her way over to the bottom lane. She's level 3 here. Going to maybe try to set up a kill. As here we go, the opening wounds. Out comes the Dragon Slave. There's that LSA. No, not yet. There we go. It finally hits, and Tuska's here with the snowball.
Nice.
Keeping him alive and going for the turn kill on a Baboka as well, and he'll get
Burning
it.
wants it. He wants it.
Oh my god, he does. Wow, he dove there pretty deep, but it might come at a cost now, Burning. He doesn't have a TP.
Rage. He's
He
fine.
doesn't have rage, okay. He has phase boots on top of that, so yeah, I guess actually the who they exchanged for is still worth it for IG for sure. Killing Enigma, only losing the Crystal Maiden in the end. Good attempt by Tusk though. At least he got the turn kill in the end.
Although Coddle did have to rotate. I mean, the trade-off is that CM and Tusk rotated, but they've been moving around the map the entire time, whereas Coddle has pretty much just been sitting in the top lane trying to bully out this Vengeful Spirit, and now that he's gone to the bot lane, hopefully IG can get a push, but it's difficult against an Enigma.
Whirling Axe has come out in the middle lane, but never mind, he's fine. It's good, right? Yeah. A little back and forth there.
Yeah, surprisingly, Enigma has opted to completely skip Midnight Pulse, and has actually gone for 2 points in Malefice, which it's not like you're gonna have a tough time if the enemy team starts pushing in. But it looks like VG wants to go aggressive as they smoke up, going on as Slardar.
Gonna wrap around on him. This is 4 heroes committing to this kill. They better get it is pretty much the case here, and they will easily get it, in fact. The race is coming out, and Ori credit for the kill, so mission accomplished right there. Good wraparound.
And now they know Burning's TP is down, so they can continue being aggressive. He was starting to channel the TP, saw that 2 heroes turned into 3 heroes, turned into 4 heroes, and he was like, yeah, I'm not going for this. I'm just gonna let the Coddle handle it.
But you still have a Coddle, yeah, spamming out with that Illuminate. Of course, one of the biggest reasons why this hero is just such a top-tier support right now, and it's because of him alone they're unable to really commit for this tower push at this point. I mean, they're still in the area as if they want to. Crystal Maiden, in fact, in a good flank spot right here. Does have that Frostbite, gonna use it on a Slaughter, so they'll catch him off the bat. Wave of Terror coming through, the Raze is connecting. Well, the one at least. Auto attack's gonna finish the job. And there's the kill. The Illuminate, though. Oh. Else coming through. Almost got a turn kill.
2 back-to-back kills on Slardar, that's a damn shame, because he was making reasonably good progress on his Blink Dagger, despite being against a tri-lane initially that, you know, kind of diminished Kale. But he'll get it eventually, and that'll be the opening for Burning to start hopping in. We saw Aggressive in the previous series start going for gank attempts with just phase boots and a Blightstone. Burning, not necessarily known to be as roam heavy, so probably just going to wait until Slardar completes his Blink Dagger before they start going for any moves with this Lifestealer.
Yeah, he has that armlet queued up, of course, so gonna get that here in the near future. Shrine pop from VG, meanwhile. Healing up, and Shadow Fiend will send back to the middle lane now. Lina was actually getting a little bit of farm in the middle lane while Shadow Fiend was invested at that top lane, so Baboka able to find some farm. She is level 4 now. Actually has a level in the Fiery Soul here to assist with even more damage, and actually has an Arcane Rune even picked up. Gonna try to make use of that here at the bottom lane. Against Enigma.
Yang is kind of low, but he has Black Hole, and he may be baiting.
He definitely is baiting. In fact, there we go. Is it enough damage before, though? Tusk coming in. He can't get there in time, however. And down goes Enigma. So it was definitely a bait, but he just simply didn't have the support close enough.
Yeah, it's a tough call because he could have gone for the Black Hole, but Lina was wisely sitting on her LSA. And so you buy yourself a few seconds, and you spend a really lengthy cooldown for something that's not guaranteed. I can see why he didn't go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, very well played there exactly by the Lina. I think that's the biggest point of that, as you suggested. The fact that he saved his LSA there made him make a decision, and Enigma ends up dying as a result. So, but he's back up, going to continue his farm. He does have the Hand of Midas queued up, so yeah, it is going to be more of that greedy style here. and benefiting. Do they have a Helmet Dominator coming? I mean, Vengeful? No, he's going Dragonlance first instead, so.
That is surprising. I would have figured that Vengeful, if anyone, is one of the main heroes who would not build Dragonlance anymore, because her range, you know, you kind of play around the fact that you don't have great range, and then after the nerfs, the Agi isn't really boosting up your Vengeance Aura as much as it used to, but he's gonna go for it anyway.
Yeah. And I'm with you there, so very curious decision there by the Vengeful Spirit by End, but obviously an experienced player and confident knows what he's doing here. Smoke Gang coming out from VG meanwhile. As the three of them here, double damage bottled up on Shadow Fiend, so chance to do some good damage right here. They want to maybe go to the bottom lane. Again, they still have an Enigma Black Hole if we can find the opportunity for it.
I don't really have any vision though, so Burning's playing it safe. Only Lena's showing herself. They're gonna go a long way around.
God, he's been really safe. Yeah, they're gonna realize right there that they're coming in as they expose them there, and Lifestealer, he'll be more than fine.
It was a good opening. Like, since the mid tower is down, it's kind of understandable that you wouldn't see Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, and so you're like, oh, well, I mean, it's not necessarily a gank attempt. Maybe he's just farming the jungle.
Yeah.
But good awareness by IG. Now they're ready to do a counterplay, as Blink Dagger is now completed on the Slardar. So we got an Infest Bomb loaded up.
Yeah, that could have been something right there on the Vengeful Spirit, but again, they wanted to be cautious. They didn't really see them behind. The Illuminate hit, but Slaughter, the last thing you want to do is show off that Blink Dagger, which is a pretty decent timing here, and not get a kill out of it and get turned even. So they play it pretty safe. They're going to hunt themselves as they're wrapping around into the dire side now. They're going uphill somewhat.
There are 4 dire heroes here, though, so this is a bit of a risky play.
Yeah, ooh, they're just charging on in. Okay, they won't be exposed yet.
They see SF with the double damage rune, and I would imagine that's enough of an opening to be like, yeah, we should probably not fight this.
Alright, I don't think Slaughter's been seen, though, yet, so they still don't have that exact information that he has a Blink Dagger. But honestly, him and Lifestealer have been missing for a while, so of course any
Shadow
smart
Fiend.
team pick up on that, but there we go. There's the jump.
Swap.
Yep, he is exactly ready right there and here comes the LSA, though. It connects on a Vengeful, but the Ice Shard's kind of zoning out the supports there. And no kills as a result. Oh my god, he wants to go in. A 3-man crush coming out. In comes the Dragon Slay, but it comes at a cost. Oh, that's the God Crush right there. Unfortunately, the follow-up, they all don't have Blink Daggers.
No, they do not. In fact, as stated earlier, Lena is a very, very slow hero, and Lifestealer, he could have maybe made his way over, but at that point, Slaughter was long dead. It was, I mean, well played by both teams. VS was well aware, and they hadn't seen Slaughter as a Blink Dagger. They were just assuming that, I haven't seen Lifestealer on the map anywhere, I haven't seen Slaughter on the map anywhere, chances are that the Blink Dagger is completed and they're going for a bomb. And so Ori went up to push the tower by himself and immediately pulled the trigger on the swap as soon as he saw it.
Dragonlance on a Shadow Fiend, so bulking up a little bit, and also getting that added range. So Force Staff and the eventual Hurricane Pike going to be high priority here for the Shadow Fiend to be picked up. So yeah, that's kind of the worst case scenario for the Slaughter. Eventually shows the blink and only to lead to his death there. So now you got the information for VG. And they're going to put some pressure on the bottom tower here as you take a look at the net worth. I mean, Troll Warlord's kind of almost quietly been doing his thing, though. OP, he does have a Yasha finish to go with those phase boots, and he's going to go an early SNY here, the Saint Yasha.
Yeah, Troll is one of the last remaining heroes who actually goes for the full Saint Yasha first item. As we've been seeing previously, it's kind of like you get the casual Yasha, and then if you want to finish it, no Saint Yasha, go for it. Chances are you're usually going for the Manta style, but Troll Warlord makes so much usage of the move speed, MAME, and the Yasha passive move speeds, so.
Take advantage of that here as well as top lane, Slaughter. Realizing that nobody's up here for the time being, so he'll just kind of farm it up. As I say this, Tusk rolls in, or ports it even, he has his roll. Walrus Punch, good to go as well, but no support with him just yet.
Nope, and the next TP rotation is going to take extra time,
oh,
and they don't. Nice try.
Almost. Yeah, Shadow Fiend coming in, but could not land the Ice Shards, and there is actually more here for Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, they were scanned out, and so split-second decision, they get out, and now the IG has additional heroes. The problem is that no black hole has been used yet, and IG is terrified of what this Enigma is up to. He's kind of sitting around in the bot lane, but like you don't have a good bead on where he is or how far he's farmed, how much how close he is to that blink dagger, and one wrong team fight can go disastrous for IG.
Roshan was pinged out there at the last second by Vici, but obviously it's way too late at that point. So there we go with OP on the Troll Warlord. He picks up an Aegis. The SNY just about finished now as well. And it feels like this is going to be good timing. Of course, he has that Battle Trance. He's level 2 Battle Trance, even being level 13. This seems like it's coming together very nicely for Invictus Gaming, right? Like they should be looking to be pushing as a team with this Aegis here, you feel?
Not quite. I actually think that they need to be going for pickoffs because the way that Vici Gaming is drafted, like, they have so many good ways of making sure that you can't get the push that you want. They don't have great ways of pushing themselves, especially because they have to deal with this Coddle and Lina. But whenever IG sets up for a push, there's just so many things you need to be concerned about. You need to be worried about swap. You need to be worried about now almost a blink. Well, actually, yeah, now a blink dagger, black hole. You need to be worried about snowball. These are all things that make it very difficult to feel confident going for a push. So even though they're completing these items, IG are completing items that help them get picks as opposed to help them push.
Yeah. Okay, they're going to know Coddle's down here at the bottom lane now. You have Invis Shadow Fiend hanging out nearby, but Q's doing a good job of not necessarily panicking. He's just kind of hugging the trees. Ice Shard's even coming out, but again, they can't see him, so they're going to have to deal with that constant counter push of the Illuminate. Meanwhile, his teammates are pushing the top lane. So for now, they're going to be doing a bit of a pushing presence as Tusk ports in. You saw Slaughter there for a little bit, but
that was really good TPing. No one directly TP'd onto this tier 2 tower that was getting pushed because they wanted to save it for Enigma. Because if they TP, then Enigma's TP will take longer. And so everyone is just trying to... It's all about... The entire tempo is being controlled by this Enigma. Even though it doesn't look like he's doing very much, he is doing everything right now in terms of controlling the pace of this game.
yeah.
Like, he's not even showing himself mid. And even then, like, IG is like, can we counter push this or what?
Yeah. There's that black hole now with the blink dagger, as you keep mentioning that. It's just so fearful for them. Now, Coddle with an axe. It's definitely going to help.
That makes it easier.
Yeah.
Now they can start pushing because, well, at least during daytime. During nighttime, all the same threats remain. But if it's daytime, then they have all the vision. They'll be able to see an Enigma hiding in the trees looking for a black hole. And they'll have the heal because chances are chances are the Coddle won't get caught in the black hole, so he'll be able to channel up and Illuminate. And since black hole, you want everyone to be clumped up, Illuminate also wants everyone to be clumped up, so it'll work out.
Crystal Maiden as well. She's kind of just been farming away at the bottom lane a little bit. She's working on a Hannah Midas, so going to try to excel her farm. But Lena on the other side does have a blink dagger and pushing out the bottom lane down here with it. It's going to need to fall back, though.
Top lane. Woo.
What was up here? Oh, he gets out in time.
OP almost, well, like, if he had gotten a bash, then he would have canceled that TP of Yang, but Yang gets out very luckily. And now they're going in on Shadow Fiend mid.
Yeah, does he have support nearby? Ice Shard's coming out. Will block burning a little bit. The open wounds, the mana leak on a Shadow Fiend, but he'll just kind of walk it off.
That was like, you have a needle gap to separate people in whenever it's like a melee hero going on one of your heroes, but he gets the Ice Shards, and they wanted to continue going, but if they had Snowball, which HYM was holding on to that, then they couldn't really go.
Tusk going to move towards the top lane and kind of push that out a little bit with the Ice Shard somewhat, but OP, of course, the Battle Trance, and that's a dead secondary tower up here, so making use of the Aegis in terms of pushing secondary towers at least. He's going to fall back before he gets caught here. Shadow Fiend rotating in with that new Shadow Blade of his. But again, they are not looking to take fights clearly. Invictus Gaming falling back. We've had a pretty slow-paced game here, especially from our first series. Only 7 combined kills, 2-5 here in 19.5 minutes now between these teams. But so knowing that's the case, that this is kind of a slower game, not a lot of action, is that favor either side, or is it really just going to come down to a big fight with like a black hole and how that plays out?
Yeah, this entire game's on a precipice. No real team has a concrete advantage. I mean, IG have like a 10k net worth advantage, but that can disappear in like a flash. If they continue this really good positioning and being active at daytime, which is nighttime now, they're going to get the kill on CM. now they need to be careful.
Not the greatest target in the world, but it is a target nonetheless, and they find the kill, so, yeah, and there's another secondary tower. So they get the pick, they get the tower. Feels like it's working out pretty well for Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, this positioning is like so delicate by IG. They're getting all these picks, they're not staying too long. Aegis is reclaimed now, but it did its job. It was integral in basically making OP feel pretty confident and going for the top tier 2, bottom tier 2, and now only one more outer tower remains for Vici Gaming, and they haven't really used anything yet. They've just been farming. Now they're gonna smoke up, but they don't really have the best vision. All they see is just burning in the mid lane, and that's it. They have no wards on the map.
We're going to head right down mid again, but you look at this physical presence here, the Desolator on a lifesteal, you got the Corrosive Haze, of course, coming out from Slaughter. Whichever target has that Corrosive Haze on them, they're going to drop very quickly on this Dire side, so that'll be fun to watch throughout these fights. But yeah, they smoke on down the middle, but guess what? They're not going to find anyone.
Yeah, bot lane's pushing into the tier 3s, you know that they're smoked up, and IG is just sitting on their high ground. Coddle's trying to play a little bit aggressive, and he can afford to.
Yeah, why not?
Now
As
he's
the
gonna
Illuminate
TP
spam.
back.
He'll get back, but as the scene maybe going to be pushing into secondary tower as Vici Gaming, but
They need to show a hero. Tier 3 is pushing into the tower. You need to show at least one hero, at least like the Shadow Fiend or something. And now they'll start TPing the Vengeful, but you wasted a lot of time.
they pinged exactly on her, but there comes the recall, and she is good to go. So the split push is going to be the massive concern, clearly, for Vici Gaming.
Yeah, and Coddle should not be able to get away with this at night like this easily, but really good awareness to know that enemy team was smoked up. Obviously, they'll all be grouped up as 5, and chances are they're not trying to wrap around their own tier 3. They're trying to go in aggressively to the Radiant side of the map, and now that's one smoke down, and yet again, no cooldowns used at all. Enigma is about to get his level 3 ult in 3 levels, and hasn't even used it a single time.
Yeah, and again, it's the level 15 talent's kind of interesting with Enigma, because like I said, I feel like I've seen kind of half and half. Some will go that 120 gold per minute, which is pretty absurd for a level 15 especially. But then there's also the 15% cooldown reduction. It's also nice, especially since it works with items on top of that. So I guess it probably depends on where the game's at. And with this game, it feels like the gold is going to be better overall, because you're not using your cooldowns even.
Exactly.
Distressed.
It's whenever you do get a black hole, you're not going to need it for like another 3 or so minutes, so it's okay if it's going to be on a little bit longer cooldown. And they're not pushing very aggressively, at least not with the Enigma, so cooldown reduction on the Eidolons isn't as important. So it's more important for this Enigma to complete items, which he is working on his BKB, and that's going to make it much easier for him to go aggressively and not have to be so delicate about his own positioning, because he doesn't have to worry about LSA, he doesn't have to worry about Slithering Crush, doesn't have to worry about getting bashed by the Slaughter or the Troll, so it's going to make life much more pleasant.
Bottom tower, VG. Looks like they should be getting a free tower kill down here at least.
Yeah, meanwhile, Bobuka's pushing top tier 3, though.
Yeah, this is only their second tower kill coming up. As you said, the tier 3 top being pushed in. And Lena reacts just in time before the ice shards. And now the middle secondary, it's going to be taken up by Invictus Gaming as well. So, nice bit of a distraction. The split push, it continues to be a massive issue for Vici Gaming. And that net worth of Troll now, 12,000. He's leading the way. They got Lifestealer behind him at 10,000. So Enigma is up there as well at 10,000 himself, but Shadow Fiend, and then look at Vengeful Spirit especially. This is a short lane, essentially free farming Vengeful Spirit, at the beginning at least. Not having much impact this game.
She's not confident farming. They've just ceded so much map control, or rather ceded so much map control to IG that there's nowhere really for N to farm on this Vengeful Spirit. And yeah, like you said, this is a safe lane farming Vengeful Spirit who had like a pretty good protection in lane. It's not like she had a tough lane, but they've just been not maximizing their resources at all. Invictus Gamer just stealing towers right out from under their noses, and Vici are all dependent on this Enigma. Earlier I said that, yeah, this Enigma was really carrying the pace, but that can be a good thing and a bad thing, because they're fighting around the Enigma, be it for better or worse.
Yeah. Oh, Sodar, he's going in.
They're gonna get the scan onto Tusk.
Chakra Magic over here. The skin as mentioned. Looking to find him. Ice Path being used already. Tusk he just avoids the crush, but the open wounds comes down. The snowball. It's going to delay the inevitable right here. He goes on in, but yeah, he's going to be taken out in the long run. So they found another target again. They've only found supports each of these times they've done this whole combination here, but they got towers on top of it, and now we have a Roshan objective.
Yep. That's all they needed. They just need one pick. In fact, they don't even need that one pick, but it just makes Vici even more skeptical about going to contest anything.
God, Blink Dagger now on Troll, by the way. That's a follow-up. I just love the animation. Quickly it happens.
Blink Dagger and 10-second BKB.
Yep. Yeah,
this dude is locked and loaded, and it's 9 kills at 26 minutes. Everyone, nothing dramatic has happened throughout those 25 minutes. No big ultimates. No big team fights, but this just continues to favor IG.
When a team is down 4 to 5 in hero kills, when there's only 9 hero kills at 26 minutes, yet they're up almost 15,000 net worth. Usually that's because of a lot of hero kill advantage, right? But man,
or there's an alchemist or something.
Exactly. There's some obvious hero that's putting them so far ahead, but that's not even the case. They're doing objectives so smartly here, and they're able to just farm so effectively because of how much they're controlling the map again. So. I asked the question earlier, and you suggested, maybe not grouping up and pushing just yet, but now you mentioned the BKB on Troll. They got an Aegis. I mean, an Assault Curios actually coming very shortly. In fact, he has it now on Lifestealer. Could they actually just go snowball into the base, you think, or?
They're going to use this last minute of daytime, and then after that, I wouldn't be surprised if IG back off. They have this Aegis, sure, but they keep strangling Vici. And Vici can't get out of their base. It's no big deal if you just continue slow sieging this.
Well, here we go. Moment of truth. The rage, it wears off pretty quickly, though, so Lifestealer falling back, but again has that Aegis. Desolator.
1 more minute a night.
Put damage into the tower. Yeah, about 53 seconds and counting here. See the Illuminate spam coming out, so the heals keeping Burning alive. He's just slowly going back in onto the tower, but they want a creep wave, but it's not going to be easy. Creep waves.
He doesn't want to get swapped, and he can't move up very far because there's no way that his team can get him out of swap. If he gets swapped, he will die twice.
Yeah. Lina, meanwhile, she's pushing out the bottom lane. Obviously, they have a recall for her if necessary. The fight does break out here, but yeah, they're being very, very patient. But like I said, it is difficult with the raise spam, killing the creep wave, the wave of terror. Then you got the swap presence. All right, so they're not going to go snowball into the base. They're just controlling the map, so why rush it? They're going to play
the thing is, I don't know how you make it easier. I guess, Troll could maybe get a Dragonlance, and then you just kind of toss ranged axes from the low ground. It's probably the safest way to do it. But, it's not going to get any easier. You will have to still worry about swap. You will still have to worry about Black Hole, unless a VG get picked. And the way that they've been playing, I mean, they don't have any vision on the map, sure, but that just means that they're just going to walk around as 5 all day long.
Yeah. No, yeah, they're not giving them chances, so yeah, it's one of those cases. It's a clear, massive lead for Invictus Gaming, but how do they win the game? How do they actually finish the game?
Yeah,
is the obvious question now. So they definitely are relying on the pick, but VG knows this, and they're not giving them the opportunity. So it's like that game of cat and mouse. Who's going to blink first? Who's going to just overstep a little bit, and then eventually get caught out? But hey, wait longer here. Wait for another Roshan. I think it's only been. Is that the second Roshan that happened, or the first one?
I think that may be the first.
I think it was the first one, actually. Yeah,
I want to say it's the first.
Still not going to be cheese, is what I was getting at there, but
yeah,
could eventually grind to that point, of course. But there is the counter argument, though, for Invictus Gaming. The longer you do wait, I mean, you're just giving Vici more chance to get bigger and better items themselves, although it's not a lot of farm to work with. So, yeah, again, I guess it just ultimately goes back to that they're in no rush. So as a spectator, this isn't the sexiest game to be watching right now, but to try to win the game, IG's definitely doing what they should be.
I don't know, this line graph getting steeper and steeper. It's exhilarating to watch.
It's that roller coaster, man. It's set to drop here in the near future, so just a matter of when.
It's true.
It's gonna keep.
The higher they get, the harder they fall.
Yeah.
One can only imagine the amount of net worth gold that they'll get, like from the comeback factor from just one kill right now.
Yeah, you have a Kato with the blink dagger here. That's when you know you're in a good spot.
I guess what they could do, they could get a Lotus Orb on someone. I think IG should get a Lotus Orb. Oh, Bobica.
See, Kato sure is.
Step on up, because you're our lucky contestant.
All right, he's dead for 20 seconds.
God forbid.
Yeah, that talent, minus
and
30
is like,
seconds
oh
respawn.
boy, I get to right-click a creep. I'm so happy.
A little bit of farm. All right. And back to defensive.
And XXS has an Infest Bomb.
And he does. He's not seen yet right here. Okay, now they see him, though.
Now he is.
Oh, they're going in down here. They do catch Vengeful initially. Here comes Slaughter. He jumps in with a combo. Last Stealer pops out with the Infest. Vengeful staying dead. Meanwhile, Dust in the back, they catch Shadow Fiend. LSA is going to miss right there. Nice mansion sound. Nice blinding light pushback. Come on. There's the black hole. Defensive black hole. Maybe pretty offensive, actually. Doing plenty of damage in return with that Midnight Pulse down. The Requiem of Souls going off. That's 4 kills. It's going to be a 5th on Troll Warlord. The black hole that they needed. And it comes through.
Recap. You have to click this fight recap.
Wow. That damage.
Holy shit.
Freezing field on top of that. Wait, so the Requiem wasn't even used. That was his death right there.
Yep.
That was all freezing field.
That was 3 supports getting a team wipe.
Wow. Well,
I told you about Black Hole. You need to worry about it. It's not like IG is still like comfortably in control. They got slapped in the face and they're like, "Oh, how dare you. I will never again try to fight you again.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue farming for another 20 minutes straight and we shall reconvene at 50 minutes."
yeah, is there something that that's what I'm trying to think, like, did they do something so wrong there? Because, like, they got the initial kill on Vengeful. Obviously, they had a jump chance, and then they chased down Shadow Fiend, and maybe it's just that.
I mean, they probably also knew that, oh, dude, we have to be, like, 20,000 net worth down. If we kill the cores, then what's the worst that could happen? They killed the VS, they got the kill on the Shadow Fiend. It wasn't the cleanest kill, and so they compromised a bit of positioning. And then Yang the God saw the opportunity, put down a Midnight Pulse, put down a Black Hole, and all you needed was just 3 supports, DDC, on top of this, and Black Hole was able to get the kill on the entire Invictus Gaming squad. And again, they went at nighttime as well, which is also not the best option. They would have seen that Enigma if it was daytime, but IG overplayed their hand.
All right, so hope for Vici, but as you keep getting back to, I mean, this is still IG that's looking pretty strong. Now they know Black Hole's down, so obviously they're a little more confident here. There's that swap, though, combo. The Walrus Punch on top, but XSS jumps in. On Slaughter, unfortunately, into a bad spot. He'll go down, I guess, sacrificing himself for Bernie. Bernie's trying to get out, but that's not going to work. He doesn't have a buyback, actually. Now the chase is on in favor of Vici. Coming on right here. So despite no Black Hole, the swap is also a very deadly presence and being felt right there. I mean, they got the Tier 3 tower kill, but it definitely comes at a cost. And the rest run away.
Yeah, pretty expensive siege. They do get the Tier 3, but seeing as how much VG don't really care about exiting their base, I don't think they would care to give up 2 shrines. They do compromise some Roche control, but really, it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back for IG.
Radiant's middle tower.
By the way, I'm actually looking at Enigma. He actually ended up not getting the 120 gold per minute. He did go the cooldown reduction. Now minus 40-second respawn time on top of that, but kind of benefiting now in the sense that he's starting to use his abilities, I guess.
Well, I guess the trade-off is that the cooldown reduction does work on your Midas, and so even though you're not getting the passive gold, your Midas, comes off cooldown more frequently, and that just means that he got this level 20 talent, which means that minus 40 respawn time, and then he's going to get that level 25, which I actually don't know what you go for. Probably the armor.
But the Eidolons.
I mean, I would love to see that, but against a Desolator AC Lifestealer, against Corrosive Haze, and against a Troll Warlord, you probably have to go the armor.
Yeah, that is tempting for sure. I mean, the other argument though is the Eidolons. It's kind of a trollish, but at the same time, I mean, the split push that it provides is pretty absurd.
Definitely.
With all those now, Illuminate, of course, kind of ruins the presence maybe a little bit. So if anything, that could be the reason. But yeah, that right there, Tusk jumping in, but unfortunately not able to catch. Not that mana leak actually. In fact, Slaughter's going to chase the crush. We've seen this before though. And Slaughter, it results in his death usually.
Black hole's up, along with the BKB.
Oh yeah, gotta be careful. Do they have a stopper with BKB up? I don't think they do they?
Not with a bunch of melee heroes,
Yeah.
no. I mean, they can technically get a bash, but that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, good luck with that positioning. So he is extra scary now, and he has an Octarine core coming as well, so that with the talent,
That's awesome.
that's going to be some low cooldowns.
Yet still, it's like a 2-minute cooldown
Yeah.
on Black Hole, even with all that.
Deservingly so.
Radiant takes the
Pretty
Rosh.
strong.
Yeah, that's true.
It is Roshan kill, though. He just picked up by Birding. The big burst. Laguna play, not enough, though. The swap out at the last second actually avoids the Illuminate. And it will keep Tusk alive, but now Vengeful Spirit's caught. Here comes the Black Hole. It catches two. Don't have a stopper for it with the Black Hole going off right there, but not a lot of follow-up damage. They were locking down Shadowfiend in the background. Down goes Enigma, and now Shadowfiend, he gets off his Rockery, but he goes down shortly after. The stun on the Crystal Maiden as soon as the Freezing Field was cast right there, and she will fall shortly after, and now end up Vengeful. When this started on, he is now in trouble
So
as
close
well.
to
The
the shrine.
buyback on Tusk cannot pop the Shrine on time, and Tusk is here by himself. This should be a Rax kill now.
Yet again, they fight
Oh.
in daytime. 2 buybacks are spent. Going on Burning, but he has an Aegis.
That toggle of the armlet as well. He jumps inside. They're going for the kill, and they get a triple kill coming out for Burning. Let's make it an ultra kill, he says. And now we're going to get the Rampage to top it all
Give it.
off. Shadow
Give it.
Fiend, Blinding Light pushback, Burning. Auto attacks, missing a little bit. He's doing putting them in, though. Get the... No, he's not going to get the Rampage.
No.
And Shadow Fiend will still fall. So they have the last laugh in the end, but no Rampage, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. No extra loot there. But this is going to be a melee Rax kill.
Melee Rax, and they'll probably be able to get a little bit more. Top lane is pushing. I think they can go for top tier 3 pretty comfortably. They know that it was a dieback on the Shadow Fiend and the VS, so there's a lot of downtime. And Black Hole, you also know, is down for quite a while.
Yeah. Now Burning with that Death Slayer again, doing plenty of damage, healing up with the creeps here. Enigma, 50 seconds still on that Black Hole. Does have the Guardian Greaves to assist in counter pushing right here. But IG, they're showing that they're not scared. Troll Warlord's back up in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, he's gonna battle trance.
Gonna bring him in with that recall.
Recalled.
Slaughter. He's just gonna be stunned up a couple times from the Malphus, but there we go. The battle trance is not even used actually.
Yeah, not even used. I guess they were maybe concerned about a turnaround, but I mean, whatever. They got both Raxes.
That's what they came for, so it's been it got fun here for a little bit, and obviously VG, they made it very interesting with the big Black Hole that they needed, but that second fight didn't go nearly as well, and now they're down 2 sets of Rax all of a sudden. Now IG, it's just a matter of time before resetting, maybe getting another Roshan here, and then truly trying to finish the game.
Man, I hope they don't wait for another Roshan. I mean, they probably should, but come on, it's just like 1 Rax left. Just go for Megas.
Oh yeah. No, they're going to wait for another Roshan.
Yeah,
But
of course
the way
they
this
are.
game's going, of course they are.
They will wait for like 2 more Roshans the way this game is
Yeah.
going.
What did Troll... Oh, yeah, he got a knife, Scotty. Okay.
Oh, Bobica gonna cancel this TP of Yang?
Top
Okay,
lane up
now
here.
what?
He's just going to run away.
He has Aghanim Scepter Laguna Blade, but yeah, he's a pretty tanky Enigma.
Oh, yeah, geez, that Laguna Blade now. Pure damage. That's quite a bit now that's happening from that ability. But they run away from each other, and Enigma now joining up with the team down here at the bottom lane. As he got a Solar Crest on Tusk picked up. Looks like a Lotus Orb is also to follow here, which will, as usual, be a pretty good item pickup once they're able to get it. BKB for Shadow Fiend, that's definitely going to be key. You managed to get that here, but is it, though, at the same time? Because, yeah, BKB, it's not going to mitigate a lot of damage.
No,
Over
it's
here.
a bunch of physical damage, and plus Lina Laguna Blade is going to go through BKB as
True.
well, so I guess at most you'll be able to deal with Blinding Light, but he has the Manta Saw for that, so I don't really know why he's going to BKB.
Now, we did have a little bit of a roller coaster here, a little bit of a dip in that net worth chart, but goes right back up. So we're going even higher now, almost 30,000 net worth lead in favor of Invictus Gaming. Could tell you that they were in the lead, though, without looking at that chart, though, of course. As, well, at least they get a secondary tower kill, but then you look at their base.
Yeah,
being
it's in
destroyed.
tatters.
Have to
And
get
because
back.
these lanes are going to be constantly pushing, it's much easier to go for this bot tier 3. It's not as it's not as important for you to like use those windows whenever your creeps hit the high ground, because someone's going to have to deal with the other lanes pushing, and that means that some of the anti-push that VG has is not going to be used on this direct siege. So it's daytime now. The conventional wisdom is you go for pushes, but it's the Manila Masters. It's the qualifiers for a double elimination in Game 1 of the Manila Masters. Of course you don't want to take any chances.
Yeah, there's a bit on the line. Again, only one team ultimately moving on, so 8 teams are here. And it's a lot of tough competition, but, one series at a time. Definitely 2 teams that are worthy.
Q Coddle does complete this Lotus Orb as well, and so now the high ground siege is much easier. They're going to try to go for a pick. If they don't get it, no big deal. Just continue to push as this bot lane is pushing in.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like VG's going to give them that chance for a pick. They're playing really defensive right here. But here we go with the creep wave. Now going to be joining them soon. You see them using the smoke.
In Vision, yeah. They have the gem on Tusk.
Oh yeah, I better scout that out. Oh, Troll's like, I'm bored. Go farm the creeps over here. He's got a Diffusal Blade now. Why the Diffusal Blade? What purpose does that bring in, you think? That's just nice damage amp, or?
Probably just for the slow.
Yeah.
I imagine that maybe Sanjin Yasha isn't the most reliable way. Like, his whole kit is just around staying glued to one target. You blink on them, you Scotty slow them, you Sanjin Yasha slow them. Sure, why not toss a Diffusal on top of that? He just wants to get one target and just, like, obliterate it.
Should have gone to Heaven's Halberd.
Oh, man.
Heard that's good.
Well, actually, I don't even think that anyone on Vici is even interested in turning around to fight the troll one-on-one.
No. No, they are not. Not at this point. Again, Vengeful, to see Vengeful all the way down on the network chart is really unfortunate. This was, again, a core Vengeful. At least it was supposed to be, and she's 8th in the game right now in net worth. I mean, she has a Hurricane Pike to go with a Yasha. It's not, like, horrendous, but definitely needed a lot more out of her as far as... I mean, you just look at across the board, the damage of this overall team of the Dire, it's just very non-existent. They're really
That's
just
why I'm
a
surprised that Ori went for this Black King Bar, because I agree they do need more damage, and VS isn't providing it. She's providing an aura, but like you need someone to do something with that aura, and BKB, like, it doesn't do anything with Vengeance aura.
Yeah.
It doesn't give Shadow Fiend any agility, so really he'll be able to stay alive longer to do what?
Yeah.
I guess maybe they're hoping that they get like a black hole into a Requiem, but chances are if you get a black hole on a lot of people, you would win the fight, Requiem or not.
Oh, we saw in the bottom lane, that wasn't even a Requiem use, as I noticed after. That was just simply death animation, but then Crystal Maiden took care of business with the freezing field. And that's kind of another reason, going back to Crystal Maiden actually, another reason why I feel like it just makes her so strong as a support option. It's like, you gauge her against other supports as far as their usefulness in team fights and overall damage output. I mean, she's up there, if not the best, if she gets a full channel off especially on that freezing field. Now, obviously, that's a lot easier said than done, but you got the synergy of the black hole. It's definitely a possibility, so.
And she's working on a BKB of her own, so it might be a more and more real possibility as time progresses. Like, I mean, you said IG they're buying themselves time, but they're also buying VG a lot of time, and whenever you have like a 30,000 net worth advantage, you kind of usually need to do something with it.
Yeah.
Make sure that the enemy team has no possibility whatsoever of coming back in, but gonna be 9 time in 10 seconds, and Roche, it's a late Roche spawn. Of course it's the late Roche spawn.
Well, they're running it over. But as you mentioned, it's not going to be up for a little bit right here, so they're checking it as if it is happening. And uh-oh, now they're going to be seeing, no, Vengeful throws out the wave tear. Coddle's there. Oh, that's not the best spot to be in. Snowball.
Nice.
That Lotus
nice
Orb.
Lotus.
Oh, the big Lotus Orb. The black hole comes out. It's going to be a full duration in the background. Burning though picks off Crystal Maiden. There's a lot of damage output, but down goes Troll Warlord. A second black hole coming out, so he has a refresher. And Lifestealer will fall. He does have a buyback, though. Troll and Coddle already buying back. They know the black holes are down now, obviously. In fact, XXS, he's still chasing with that BKB. He will catch up to Shadow Fiend and finish off him. So the 3 buybacks used by IG, but this could be the game-winning buybacks for sure. as they're now pushing out into the base. They're going right cutthroat here. Slaughter still chasing. Crush lands on a Tusk. But now actually Slaughter in a pretty bad spot. The Yield Scepter will delay a little bit. Those shards keeping him blocked in. A lot of buybacks coming out. The Lotus Orb not enough to save him that time around. And now they're chasing on a Burning. If they kill Burning, that's a dieback, so he needs to be careful about that. Meanwhile, Troll jumps back in, though, with that Blink Dagger. Shrine's not going to save Tusk, and he'll go down. The buyback sound just keeps going off, man. Both these teams.
It's coming in. SF doesn't have any souls, so yeah, he does not do very much right now.
That is true, actually. He's the worst at buying back, of course, for that reason alone. Tusk, he will get picked off, and yeah, with the low souls, Shadow Fiend, no Tusk now for 85 seconds. They're going to go for Mega Creeps.
Down.
No black holes. Oh man, that was a good effort. I mean, that was definitely a one fight there initially for Vici Gaming, but obviously IG, they were confident to use their buybacks very aggressively there. And clearly proven to be the right decision. Tier 3 tower goes down unless they hold against these Mega Creep spawns here. I think this could be the beginning of the end in favor of Invictus Gaming. To jump back in with the Crush once again. The BKB pop, the Shrine used, but the nice Blinding Light pushback there. Bavoka dealing with supports off to the side. Meanwhile, Burning's taking some right clicks, but not enough. He'll be fine. Illuminate spam coming through. Meanwhile, Laguna Blade to pick off Crystal Maiden over here, and Yang jumps in, but again, no black hole, no presence. The Midnight Pulse, not enough. Double kill, and that should all but do it. GG, well played. It is official. Invictus Gaming will finally take the first game. Oh, hell of an effort, though, by Vici.
All eyes were on the Enigma throughout the entire game, and, you know, in the early game that worked out in Vici's favor, but that turned out to be their curse, as they were just entirely too dependent on landing good black holes, and their entire team, like, VS did not scale the way a core VS needs to.
I think that's definitely the best way to put it right there. And, you know, we got game number 2 obviously going to be coming up shortly right here, so I'm going to get right into the break. But definitely IG Vitality, not IG Vitality, Invictus Gaming, that is. They're feeling good about that first game victory. Overall, played that very well. Again, it just took maybe a little bit longer than they would have liked to finish it, but definitely looking strong in that first game victory. So once again, guys, sit tight. I'm Breaky CBK, joined by Tsunami here. The Manila Masters Chinese qualifiers continue here. Next on the Beyond the Summit broadcast. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back. Game number 2 coming up next.